welcome to Demigod Debut. I'm Mal, Hunters of Artemis appreciator and longtime Percy Jackson fan.
And I'm Julie, Percy Jackson newbie, and certified member of the Hunters of Artemis fan club.
We are the same.
We are. Oh, I was gonna say card-carrying member of the Hunters of Artemis fan club, and I didn't have time at work today because I was actually doing my job, but I was going to make like a little business card. So I might actually still do that and like send you like a little.
Please. Incredible. And this is a podcast about Julie reading The Lost Hero for the first time and joining the Hunters of Artemis. Yeah, some very exciting chapters. I don't have anything else to say at the top, so we can get right into them. So chapter 33 is a Piper chapter. And so where we left off, Piper and Leo had just been turned into gold by King Midas, and Jason had kind of blown up his house, and then they were kind of fleeing. So we open on Piper, like, waking up after being ungoldified, and she has gotten hypothermia because they had to dunk her in the river, and because it is December, it was very cold. But Leo somehow did not get hypothermia, despite also being turned into gold. Do we think this has something to do with the firepower?
Yeah, I feel like he could warm himself up. As we see later, when he gets a little excited.
Right.
I'm like, I wonder if he can voluntarily do that as well. I would love that power, by the way.
Yeah, just being... I mean, I'm always warm, so I would like the opposite power to be able to get cool. Yeah, temperature control of my body would be nice.
Yeah,
that's the power I want. They have also given Piper some nectar, and also Coach did what he refers to as quote-unquote sports medicine, and says that her breath might smell like mushrooms and Gatorade for a few days.
Ew.
It's giving the same energy as, like, when you would go to the playground with your friends and you would make potions.
Yes!
Like, that's what this is. Like, you just had a water bottle, we found some mushrooms, we put some grass in there and, like, stirred it with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And then made Piper drink it.
Yeah.
And so Coach says she probably won't die. But you can never be certain with mushrooms. And so Piper asks, what happened, how they managed to defeat Midas, and Jason tells her, but kind of makes it seem like he mostly just got lucky. But then Coach jumps in and is like, oh, he's just being modest, and starts talking about how awesome it was. And then Jason just points out that Coach wasn't even there because he was outside eating the lawn. It's just ridiculous.
He's just hungry.
And then Jason asks Coach to shut up, please. So at least he's polite about it. Also, we've somehow made our way to Colorado. We're to Pikes Peak. We're about 500 miles from Omaha. And Jason apparently used storm spirits to get them there, but he says it wasn't great and they almost crashed into the side of the mountain, so like he's not going to try to harness the storm spirits again. But also there was something that told Jason that this is the place to stop. And Coach says, yeah, it's probably because Aeolus's palace is anchored right above us. But Piper thinks also maybe it might be because the hunters are around. And so for now, we're just kind of waiting on a mountain. I don't know why I said waiting like that. Right now, we're just kind of waiting on a mountain in a snowstorm, trying to give Piper some time to rest and warm up. And so Jason puts his arm around her to warm her up. And, to make what I'm sure will be the first of several Twilight references this episode, I cannot read about people, like, camping out in the snow and cuddling to keep warm without thinking of the scene in Twilight where Jacob has to cuddle Bella to keep her warm while, like, Edward is sitting in a chair watching.
I don't remember that one. Is that in the original movie?
It's in the third.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen the first one.
Oh. Okay, see, the first one is, like, I feel like it is an artistic masterpiece. Like, they had a vision and they did it, and then the rest of them are just kind of a meme. But the third one is the first one I remember seeing in theaters, because it was like the first one I was old enough for, and I remember seeing that scene in theaters.
Did you go with your mom?
I did go with my mom.
Okay, and I think I remember this.
Yes, and a bunch of middle-aged women were very excited by this scene, because there's a moment where Jacob's like, tells Edward, like, well, I'm hotter than you, and all the middle-aged women were like, ah! As you do. Anyway, we've got that situation going on. And then Leo pulls out his cooking supplies and starts making burgers, And, like, has it ever been clear where he is getting all these supplies?
I thought he was summoning them from his belt.
Yes, that was kind of my assumption as well, but then he couldn't summon, like, a dog whistle. It had to be a safety whistle. So then I'm like, the food isn't something necessarily you would find in a workshop. So where is it coming from?
Unless you assume, like, I don't know, people working in a workshop gotta eat, they gotta have lunch.
I mean, I guess
You
so.
can very loosely, I can see the loose connection that maybe Rick is trying to make. However,
yeah,
I do get your confusion.
maybe. I'm just like, especially because he's pulling like raw meat out of his tool belt to make burgers. That's crazy.
I thought they were all tofu.
No, there are some in this situation that are specifically meat because
Ah.
Piper mentions like it smelling good and saying that like
right.
meat doesn't usually smell good to her. So some of them are tofu, some of them are in fact meat. I'm just like, I need more explanation on how this magic tool belt works, you know? Because then also later when he summons the gasoline, he's like, I can't summon anymore right now because the tool belt is like gassed out, you know, to make a little pun about it. But I don't know, like what's the hierarchy of things that are like number one able to be pulled from the belt, but then also like the belt needs time to recharge between getting them. Like I just explain the belt to me like I'm 5 years old, please, Rick.
Yeah.
I just anyway. So then Leo starts telling them about his dream. So this is kind of our chapter where we all talk about our dreams. And so he's telling them about how he talked to his dad, and Piper is incredibly confused why the gods would go silent if the gods and demigods have to work together. But Coach is quick to explain that the gods hate needing humans. They simply want to be needed by humans, and things will have to get much, much worse before Zeus admits he made a mistake. And honestly, I think that this is giving Zeus way more credit than he deserves because I don't think Zeus has ever admitted that he's made a mistake in his life.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a little naive to think that there will be any form of accountability taking done by Zeus.
Yeah.
And Jason also brings up his dream with Hera and how she said that Zeus was acting more paranoid than usual, and she went to the ruins because of a voice in her head. And he and Piper both arrive at the conclusion that someone is manipulating the gods. And Leo also brings up what it seems like his dad wasn't saying, like getting the demigods together was going to be this big impossible thing, and Hera was foolish for even trying, and he felt like there was some big secret that Hephaestus couldn't tell him. And like, it feels like there's been a big secret that they haven't been able to tell us this entire book.
Yeah. Feel very out of the loop.
Yes, like Jason says he got the same vibe back at camp when Chiron mentioned there was like an oath not to discuss something. And then they asked Coach if he knows anything. And Coach is like, well, they don't tell satyrs the really juicy stuff, especially old ones like me. And then it is revealed that Coach Hedge is 106 years old. And so if satyrs age only as fast as humans, this makes only 53, which is like less wild, but still, by calendar years, if you go by the release date of this book, which is 2010, Coach lived through both world wars.
That's insane.
He was around during the Great Depression.
Rick, can we think about this for a second? This sounds ridiculous.
Like, this guy's been around since the year of our Lord 1904? Is that right? Yeah. Math. Man, the history. I did see something that was like, hey, if you're 25 years old, you have experienced 10% of the history of the United States of America.
Don't like that.
No. It's like, that's what? How have I been around for more than 10% of the United States?
We don't need to go there.
And then if you use that same math, Coach Hedge has been around for, I don't know, like 30, 40%? History is wild. Anyway, in that time that he's been alive, he has apparently made some enemies on the Council of Cloven Elders for being too violent and unpredictable, which resulted in his assignment at the Wilderness School. But, you know, joke's on them, because that turned out to be a very important assignment. And then Piper starts feeling guilty again about not telling her friends what's going on with her dad, when all they seem to want to do is help her, and she thinks that she probably made the right choice in Chicago by not betraying Leo and Jason, but she also knows that she's just kind of delayed this decision.
Mm-hmm.
And so she wishes she could ask her dad what to do, and thinks he'd probably tell her one of Grandpa Tom's old stories, and Piper thinks of the little house in Oklahoma and wonders what it would have been like to grow up there. So we have Piper giving us a story that her dad told her, and this time it's about her name and the snake song. And so she apparently came home in second grade crying because kids were making fun of her name because Piper Cherokee is a type of airplane. And her dad tells her that her name actually came from Grandpa Tom, who heard her cry for the first time and said she had a very powerful voice that's better than any reed flute piper. And she would learn to sing the hardest Cherokee songs like the Snake Song. And so the legend of the Snake Song is as follows. There was a Cherokee woman that killed a snake that was playing near her kids. It turns out it was the king of the rattlesnakes, so the snakes prepared to retaliate, but the woman's husband tried to make peace, and the snake said, "You have to send her to the well so that we can take her life in exchange." And so the man did what they asked, which impressed the snakes, and so they taught him the snake song so that any Cherokee in the future who sang it would have the snakes recognize him as a friend. So, the story of a hard sacrifice. And I do think it's kind of fun to mix in other story, like to not focus just on the Greek mythology stories that we have had in like previous books. I do think it is fun to dig into like other cultural stories that would be important to Piper.
Mm-hmm.
And so Piper thinks of this story and its hard sacrifice and wonders if her grandpa somehow knew something about what was coming when she was a baby. And then she makes the decision that we've been waiting for, and she finally decides to tell them what's going on.
Yes. Oh.
Finally. And so she tells them that 3 nights before the Grand Canyon, she had a dream saying that her dad was taken hostage, and she needed to sabotage the quest and lead Jason and Leo to a mountain in the Bay Area by noon on the solstice. And after saying this, of course, she is like, well, they're gonna hate me now. But instead, Jason just says that he's sorry, and Leo's shocked that she's been dealing with this alone for a week because, like, this is the normal human reaction to your friend telling you that this has been going on.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that. Her friends care about her.
Wow.
Shocker.
Like, your friends aren't gonna hate you because you were asked to do something terrible and you haven't done it. Like, I would feel worse about this the longer it went on. Because I would be like, oh, wait, you really had to think for an entire week if you were going to betray us? That's suspicious.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
But no, her friends care about her. Imagine that. But also, this is a group of people who, well, besides Jason, because we still don't know what's going on with Jason, but like, Leo and Piper, I don't think have ever had a friend in their lives. So, they don't really know. And honestly, like, Jason, because he doesn't have any memories, like, none of these people know what it means to have a friend. So, this is new for all of them. And so, Coach then has, like, a singular useful moment because he kind of reassures Piper that her dad probably isn't dead yet because the giant still needs him for leverage. And he also says that it's pretty likely that her father and Hera are in different places, so that they're going to have to choose which one to rescue. Piper says they've got no choice but to rescue Hera, but Leo says they're not going to let her dad die, they just need to make a plan. And Coach wonders what the mountain might be, and he hopes it isn't Mount Tam, aka Mount Orthrus, aka the old home of the Titans, aka where Percy and Annabeth held the sky 2 years ago. 2 years ago? 2 years? Was that? Oh, God. That was not that long ago. That's why I wanted to be like, no, that was 3 years ago. But no, I'm pretty sure that was just 2 years ago. Woo! What a time. Anyway, Coach also says that the Bay Area has a bad reputation for demigods. And Jason thinks, that doesn't seem right. And Piper asks if he thinks he's been there. And he kind of looks like he's on the edge of a breakthrough, but then he says he doesn't know. And he asks Coach what happened to Mount Orthrus, and Hedge says that after Kronos was defeated in Manhattan, the palace just kind of crumbled on its own. And Jason says, that's not what happened. And then before he can elaborate, they start to hear wolf howls. And so that's chapter 33. Any other thoughts on our exchanging of information chapter?
I am so glad Piper finally told them. I felt like I was holding the secret because I'm like, girl, just please tell them. They can help.
That's a lesson for us all.
Mm-hmm.
Lean on your friends. They can help.
So true.
Also, I called this one Coach Hedge Fixes Everything with Mushroom Gatorade because I just cannot stop thinking about how nasty that would be.
Yeah, no, that's a good title and very disgusting.
And also, if not for the Mushroom Gatorade, then maybe Piper wouldn't have told everyone about her dad. So,
yeah.
Thank you to Coach Hedge.
So it really did fix everything.
Yeah, exactly. Because now that they're a united front against these issues, nothing bad can ever happen again. All right. Chapter 34, Why did I say it like that? Chapter 34, another Piper chapter. So, pretty quickly, we are surrounded by wolves. And Jason says something to them in Latin, which makes all of them back off for a second, but they return pretty quickly. And Coach offers to kill them all while the kids escape, but Jason says they need to stick together because the wolves respect a pack. And then a guy steps through the pack, and he's got a crown of finger bones on his head.
Hate that.
And what is wild is that this is not the first time this week that I have read a book that featured a character wearing a crown of finger bones.
Ugh.
And so I was like, is that just a coincidence or is there some deeper meaning? Because it's weird that both times it would be specified that they are finger bones rather than just saying it's wearing a crown of bones. Like, I don't know if it's just to emphasize that, like, hey, these came from a person, because you generally don't, like, you wouldn't talk about an animal as having fingers really, unless it's like a monkey, I guess. But I don't know. Anyway, I looked it up to try to be like, is there some symbolism behind a crown of finger bones? And I found nothing. So it may just be that finger bones are small and could be made into a crown for a person relatively easily. I don't know. Anyway, if I had a nickel for every time in the last week I read a book where a character had a crown of finger bones, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it is weird that it has happened twice.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, no, it's not it's not an image that I want in my head, actually. So the wolf guy looks at Jason, and he looks at him like he hates him. And he says something in Latin that I looked up, and it turns out means, "Behold the sons of the Romans." And Piper's like, man, if only I could remember who this guy was in Greek mythology, like maybe we could defeat him. But, you know, between the Latin and calling Coach a faun, which is the Roman name for satyr, like, I feel like Greek is the wrong mythology to be assuming here, Piper.
Mm-hmm. Come on, Piper, use your brain.
But also, when you Google him, it does come up and say that he is a figure from Greek mythology, so not entirely sure why he is speaking Latin. So, Wolfman looks at the group and goes, oh, interesting. A child of Aphrodite, a child of Hephaestus, and a child of Rome, a son of Jupiter, all together without killing each other. How interesting. He also says that they've been patrolling and hoping to be the first to find them, and he introduces himself as Lycion, is gonna be what I'm going with.
Okay.
And he's the king of the wolves. And what a guy he is. I just...
Horrifying.
And so he was the mortal king of Arcadia, and apparently had 50 sons, and he invited Zeus to dinner, and tried to feed him human flesh to test if it was really him, and in return, Zeus killed all of his sons with lightning. And according to Wikipedia, his youngest son, Nyctimus, either survived the lightning as a result of Gaia's interference, or was the one who was cooked up and served to Zeus, who Zeus then brought back, like, to life after the fact. And just, like, how many guys were trying to feed the gods human flesh? Because this is also what happened with Tantalus. Like, Tantalus wasn't allowed to eat or drink anything in the Fields of Punishment because he tried to feed the gods human flesh. And that's also why they made him camp director in the second book, because that's a guy we want around kids.
Mhm.
They're actually going to hire Lycion next.
Yeah.
Lycion. Anyway, Wolfman says he cannot kill Jason because there is someone at the Wolf House that he's apparently made quite an impression on that has asked for the honor of killing him. Any guesses who that might be?
They mentioned what? What's her name? The girl that just...
Medea.
Medea?
Yeah.
I hate saying that because I immediately think of Tyler Perry's Medea.
Yeah, I know.
So I was having a hard time picturing this woman without thinking. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, let's go with her.
Could be. I mean, she already came back from the dead once. Why not survive a department store explosion?
Do we have conclusive proof she died?
Very true, we never saw a body.
I need the body. I need proof of death.
Yeah, because we know at least 3 people who escaped from the department store explosion. She also had dragons.
Yeah.
Also, Lycaon. I should have Googled how you say it. Not that that would really help because I would have forgotten it, but...
It's fine. This is better.
Yeah, the slight hesitation every time I say it is better. Wolf Guy says that only Jason is needed alive, so the rest of them will be dinner. And they also can't hurt them because none of their weapons are silver. Jason also can't summon lightning for whatever reason, but Leo throws a little bottle of gasoline and shoots fire at it, which makes the wolves back up a bit. And I just kind of think that Leo's weapon of choice should be a Molotov cocktail.
Yes. Yes.
It just makes sense. That's basically what this is.
Yeah.
And so, just when our fire is running out and we're going to die, all of a sudden, arrows come flying. They kill some of the wolves, and then Lycion and his pack have to retreat. And so they come face to face with everyone's favorite group of girls, all wearing white and gray camouflage, so we have changed from the silvery jackets. And the girl who is in charge tells the rest of them to follow the Wolfman while she and Phoebe check on Jason, Piper, and Leo. Thalia double checks that none of them got bit, and I think it would be kind of cool if we just had a werewolf traveling with us for the rest of the book, but that's just me. And Jason just kind of stares at her, and Piper says, "You're her! You're Thalia!" And she pulls down her hood all dramatic and is like, "Do I know you?" And Jason says, "Hi, I'm Jason, your brother." And that's the end of this chapter. The reunion we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
And so I called this chapter, "This Guy Is Not Like Jacob from Twilight," because he isn't. Like you said last week, werewolf but not sexy.
And I stand by that.
Unless you're into crowns of finger bones.
Yeah.
And I think I like that as a better chapter title. Werewolves but not sexy. I think that's good. You did text me that you looked up Lycaon or Lycion or whatever his name is. And
Yeah.
you're like,
Read his backstory. I'm like, horrifying.
Yeah, terrible. All right, 35, a Leo chapter. And the fact that this reunion happens in Leo's POV instead of Jason's is hilarious, actually.
Very funny.
It's like, why is he here? And so Leo, of course, starts the chapter incredibly mad that he doesn't get to have a cool long-lost sister or movie star dad that needs rescuing. And he thinks about, like, people talking about the quest thousands of years from now, how they'll talk about brave Jason and beautiful Piper and their sidekick Flaming Valdez, who followed them with a bag of magic screwdrivers and occasionally fixed them tofu burgers. But, like, Leo, have some self-esteem. You have been very important to this quest.
Yes.
And he also immediately has a crush on Thalia, which, I mean,
Poor Leo.
Same, because she's totally out of his league. And he thinks she's way too pretty to be Jason's sister. And she looks like the type of girl who wouldn't give him the time of day, which he says is just his type. Like, incredibly real.
Mm-hmm.
And so Thalia hugs Jason, and she says that she told her he was dead, with no explanation as to who she might be. And Thalia looks at his face and determines that it is in fact him because of the tiny scar that he has on his lip from when he tried to eat a stapler at age 2.
That's insane.
Did you ever try to eat any strange things as a child?
I don't think so.
You never got a Lego stuck up your nose or anything?
No, we didn't have Legos as kids.
Oh.
3 girls.
Are you saying girls can't play with Legos?
I'm not saying that, but I'm telling you, we were very, like, it was a dollhouse. Like, we had dolls. That was our toy. We had Barbie, my favorite things ever. Little punch bugs.
Cute.
Like cars that, like, you could put your Barbie in and then you could lift open the trunk. And I'm really mad we got rid of them because I'm like, this is so cute. I could, like, turn it into a vase for fake flowers or something.
Did you ever have Polly Pockets and chew on their clothes?
Yes, did do that.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
I think my strangest childhood accident is at nap time in preschool. I found a rock on the ground, and I thought it would be fun to put it in my nose. It did get stuck.
That feels so on brand for you. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Sometimes I just do things, and it's like, well, shouldn't have been surprised that turned out the way that it did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so much like Jason, I probably would have eaten a stapler at age 2 if I had access to a stapler. And he had access to a stapler probably because he had a bad mom.
Yeah.
Thalia tells them to sit down, and it says Piper does even better. She just collapses. And so Thalia then sends Leo, Hedge, and Piper out to see Phoebe for some healing. But Jason stops Leo and asks if he will stick around, because, of course, this is a Leo POV chapter, and so we need Leo to stick around, otherwise we won't know what happened. Like, just, you could have messed with the pattern of chapters to make this happen from a Jason chapter. Like, why is he here?
It made too much sense to have it be a Jason chapter.
it would be too serious if it was just Jason and Thalia.
Yeah.
Like, you need Leo there to kind of talk about how hot he finds Thalia.
Yeah. It's important to the plot.
Exactly. So they all kind of just stare at each other around the fire for a little while until Leo decides to ask if the hunter's whole not dating thing is always or if it's more of a seasonal kind of thing. And Thalia looks at him like he, quote, just evolved from pond scum. And Jason kicks him in the shin and tells Thalia that he's just trying to break the ice. What a guy Leo Valdez is. And so Jason asks what happened to their family, who told her that he was dead, and he also says that he remembers nothing before waking up on a bus with Leo and Piper a few days ago, which Leo is quick to say had nothing to do with them, but was because Hera stole his memories. Jason explains their whole quest and how they got to this point and shows Thalia the picture that he found in cabin 1 because he's got a feeling that Hera wanted them to meet. And I do wonder a little bit if he had any memories of Thalia before this whole thing. Because, like, he was 2 when they got separated. Do you remember anything from when you were 2?
No.
Me neither. So, like, before this, wherever Jason was, did he have any idea he had a sister at all?
Right.
Because it almost feels like he would have tried to find her before this if he knew.
Yeah. But then again, would we know that? Because we don't know. Because he wouldn't remember that, right?
I mean, true. Maybe he did remember her and he just couldn't because where he was keeping him.
Mm.
So Thalia is quick to tell Jason that he can't trust Hera since she hates all children of Zeus. But Zeus says that Hera told him that Zeus gave her his life as a peace offering. And this is giving my mom sold me to One Direction. That's...
Oh, those are so good.
Jason put his hair up in a messy bun and came downstairs, and his mom was like, Jason, we're selling you to One Direction.
Oh my god. So good.
Alright, but in all seriousness, the gist of the Grace family drama is that their mom was an actress, and she didn't handle fame very well, and could never get enough attention. And she knew that Thalia's father was Zeus, and it was a bit too much for her, and she couldn't accept when he left. And then when Thalia was around 7, he started visiting again, but he was different. He was sterner, he was more fatherly. And then when they had Jason, that gave Thalia a reason to stick around, particularly because she didn't trust her mom to look after him. Then when Zeus left for good, their mom got more and more unstable, and monsters started coming for Thalia, and her mom blamed Hera for all of this. And then when Jason was 2 and Thalia was 9 or 10, they were in a park on vacation when their mom sent Thalia back to the car to get their picnic basket, and when she came back, Jason was gone. Their mom told her that Hera had claimed Jason and he was as good as dead. Thalia, of course, called the cops, who questioned their mom, and all of this kind of destroyed what was left of their relationship, and Thalia ended up running away from home. And she never told anyone about any of this, including Luke and Annabeth. And so the whole time that they're having this conversation, Leo is kind of chiming in with his own 2 cents, like just in his narration, not out loud, thinking about how, like, oh, this might suck even more than my mommy issues, because at least, like, I had a loving mom for a while. And then we have to get into the timeline of it all, because with the tree business and the immortality of it all, Jason and Thalia are the same age now. They're both 15, which is wild, considering she was like 7 or 8 years older than him at the start of all of this. Because, you know, she said he started coming back around when she was about 7, and then 10 months to have a baby. She's probably 8. So, but her being 7 or 8 years older than Jason does not line up with her being 5 years older than Annabeth, because Annabeth is only 1 year older than Jason. So, like, when she was on the run, she was 12, and Annabeth was 7. So, what's the truth? Rick does not know how old the characters are, or what year things took place in. Like, I feel like when Rick was writing this, he needed to have a timeline on the wall and just assign everything, like, because his big thing is, like, he wants it to not take place in any specific year, which I'm like, that's fine, whatever, but you can at least, you could start with, like, year 1, and that is the first year that anything relevant to the plot takes place. And so year 1, I feel like, would probably be, like, Luke is born, May Castellan tries to become an oracle. Like, I feel like that would be, well, no, because then you have Nico, who was
Right,
born in
right,
like
right, right,
the
right,
30s. So it gets complicated. But like, okay, just focusing on the stuff that doesn't mess with time.
right.
The first thing would probably be Luke. And so then you make that like year 1. And so then Thalia is born like 2 years later. And so then you build everything from there so that the things make sense and so that I am not sitting here like, Rick, what is the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Also in this conversation, we also tell Thalia about all of the Roman weirdness, and they determine that maybe Zeus had been in his Roman aspect the second time he was with their mom, and that's why Jason speaks Latin and thinks of himself as the son of Jupiter. Thalia says she's never heard of this happening, but it could be possible, and she says she doesn't know how he would have survived without a safe haven like Camp Half-Blood. Leo says they've heard about others like him and seen evidence of other people in like purple shirts, and suggests that maybe there's somewhere else for demigods, like some crazy Latin teacher has been abducting children of the gods and making them like Romans. And is that not simply what Chiron is doing with the Greeks? Like, we meet him as a Latin teacher in The Lightning Thief.
Right.
So, is there an equivalent crazy Latin teacher that deals with Romans? Who's to say? And so Thalia says she's never seen any demigods in purple shirts or any evidence that there is a crazy Latin teacher, but she says she'll talk to Artemis about it, because Artemis is still apparently communicating with the hunters despite Olympus being closed. In fact, Artemis had told her that following the Wolfman would give them a lead to Percy. And Thalia then says that she has to get moving so she doesn't lose the other hunters, but she says that she'll take them to Aeolus' palace first. And so that's the end of this chapter, and we will get more into the details later in the next chapter. But any other thoughts on 35?
Not really. Just very interesting. Finally getting some Jason backstory.
Yes,
Finally starting to answer the question: who the hell is Jason?
but we've got a big blank space between vanishing at age 2 and waking up on a
Yeah.
bus at age 15.
Yeah, I need more.
So more to come on the Jason lore. So I called this chapter Leo Third Wheels, parentheses, what else is new? Because again, why is he here? Just like seeing this reunion through Leo makes it so ridiculous.
I just love his little comments about how Thalia's hot. I think that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Calm
Focus,
down.
buddy, focus. You're learning some important things about your friend.
Yeah. Unreliable narrator, Leo is just focused on how hot Thalia is and not on the information that she's providing. I also a little bit wanted to call this chapter Jason's mom sold him to One Direction, but that's more just funny, and I feel like it doesn't make a good chapter title because it's like not actually what happened. It's just,
I don't know. I like that.
yeah, I think it's funny though.
It's pretty good.
All right, so chapter 36, another Leo chapter. And so they come out of their cave where they've been having this conversation, and Leo is immediately so offended because Piper and Hedge have been lounging in Phoebe's warm tent with hot chocolate, and Piper has gotten all healed up, and she's wearing shiny new hunter clothes. And so Leo asks if he can get some hot chocolate and a new parka, and Phoebe rolls her eyes and says, boys. But Thalia says that they should give them extra coats and they can probably spare some hot chocolate. Thalia doesn't really have the, like, man-hating thing down quite yet, it doesn't seem like. Like, the rest of the hunters hate boys a lot more than she seems to.
Yeah.
Does that come with time, or...
Like, I almost want to be like, well, she had good connections, like, with boys in the past, but then I was like, not really, because Luke betrayed her, and...
Right, so, like...
I don't know.
I mean, the best, like, male connection she had was Percy, and I would even say that's not great. I mean, it's decent. They were friends, they care about each other, but they also tried to kill each other a couple times.
Yeah. Very interesting.
And also, like, you could say it's, oh, because she has a brother, but she hasn't had a brother in, like, 20 years. Because that's the other thing.
Right.
The timeline of Thalia makes it very difficult to determine how many years have passed since this whole thing happened.
Yeah, the whole turning into a tree thing really messes with my conception of time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, well, I mean, I guess you have Jason as like a starting point. So Jason has experienced time normally. So I guess it would have been 13 years ago that Jason vanished. And then Thalia would have been like 9 or 10. I guess that would mean Thalia's about to celebrate like her 22nd or 23rd birthday coming up in a couple days. So happy birthday to her. Yeah, so TLDR, I don't know why Thalia is not as man-hating as the rest of the hunters seem to be. It's interesting. Piper says that she now feels like she could run 10 miles. And Thalia says, oh wow, she's tough for a child of Aphrodite, which sucks a little.
Don't
like,
love that.
could we not just say she's tough? Yeah, why do we have to disparage the Aphrodite cabin?
Like, Drew I get, but everybody else seemed nice.
Drew is an exception to the rule, which is that the Aphrodite cabin actually rocks.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's never the compliment you want it to be when you like tell, like, oh, you're this for this. Like, you're pretty for I don't know. You're pretty for a redhead.
Pointed. That was pointed.
I know, the offended face that you made. You're pretty for redheads and all the other heads.
Thanks, bestie.
Yeah, but basically, don't compliment somebody like that. Just be like, oh, this one's tough. I like her. That's all you have to say. And so then they have to run, like, uphill in the snow to get to Aeolus. Aeolus.
Areolas.
To get to Aeolus's, which sucks. I hate running uphill. But, you know, Leo and Jason also somehow find time to talk a little about what happened. And very impressed because whenever I am running uphill, I cannot and will not talk. Like, I don't want to have a conversation. Jason is not taking it well, naturally, because this is kind of an earth-shattering, like, revelation to learn that your mom gave you away as a child.
Yeah.
And Jason says that, like, Thalia acting so calm about all of it, like, isn't helping either. So more than anything, he just, like, he wishes he understood what the heck happened, like, when his mom went off alone with him and gave him to Hera.
Mm-hmm.
And so they make it almost to the summit of Pikes Peak, and hovering in the sky above them is a giant island of purple stone with a small ice bridge connecting it to the peak. And Jason says it's enormous, and Thalia tells him you should see Olympus. Thinking about the last time Thalia was on Olympus, she had to cross a different crumbling bridge, and when she got there, she then was crushed immediately by a giant Hera statue, so good times. And so Leo asked Jason to just fly them up there instead of them having to, like, cross the bridge. Being able to fly is news to Thalia, who says that she's never even tried it due to her fear of heights. And so Piper and Coach get across the bridge pretty easily, and Thalia warns them to be careful where they step, but also says that it hardly ever breaks. And Leo says, well, it hasn't met me yet, which I think is funny.
Poor Leo.
And it is also, unfortunately, accurate, because they're, like, halfway up when things start to go wrong, and of course it is Leo's fault. He starts to get distracted thinking about bridges, and then he gets all excited because he's putting the pieces together, which makes his temperature start to rise, which starts melting the ice. Leo says that Hera called Jason a bridge, and if he's a bridge, then maybe he's connecting two places that don't usually get along. So he had to be somewhere before this, and Hera called him an exchange. And I'm also, like, picturing Leo as that meme of the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia standing in front of the, like, board where he's pinned a bunch of stuff and he's got the red string,
Yeah.
and he's like that's Leo right now at this moment. Like,
what is it, Pepe Sylvia?
What?
That's the thing. He's
that
like
what it
looking for Pepe Sylvia. Have you watched the video?
I didn't know that. No.
Oh my god,
I've
I'm
only
sending
seen
you the
meme.
video because it's
Okay.
hilarious.
Okay. You know, I've never seen the video. Oh my gosh. It's a mix between that and, like, I've connected them. You haven't connected shit. Like, it's those two memes. Because, like, yes, he's connected things, but also we're still missing, like, a very big piece of this puzzle. So Jason had to be somewhere before all of this, and Hera said that he was in exchange. And so then things click for Thalia as well, and she realizes that the clue about Percy that she was looking for is Jason, because it's all connected. And Jason still doesn't get it. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. And Thalia's like, if only we knew where. And Leo says, oh, what's that house from your dream? The wolf house? And clearly Thalia knows what this is because she asked Jason why he didn't tell her. And then the bridge dissolves. But Jason manages to catch Leo by his coat and pull him to safety, but it leaves, Thalia trapped on the other side. Classic. And she yells at them to go, tells them to go save Piper's dad, and then meet the hunters at the wolf house because they can do both. And I do hope that is true.
Yes. God, let it be true.
The other thing that this is giving is, did you watch Shark Boy and Lava Girl as a kid?
I did. I can't remember anything about it, so it's like I didn't.
Well, there's a scene where they have to, like, cross an ice bridge, and so they have her, like, sleepwalk across it. And I can't even remember exactly what happens in the scene and why she ends up waking up, but it's very much like Leo, like, because she gets hot again, and then it starts to break the ice bridge. But yeah, so I was like, Leo is Lava Girl.
Oh, you should have made that a title. That would have been good.
Leo is Lava Girl.
I would never have guessed.
Dye his hair pink. I did think about it, but then I was like, I don't know if that's gonna be. The chapter titles are hard. They're tricky.
I'm sure they are. I would not be able to.
Alright, so last little bit of this chapter. They meet back up with Piper and Coach Hedge. Piper asks why Leo's clothes are smoking. Leo starts to apologize, but Jason says they have less than 24 hours to save Hera and Piper's dad, so they just need to hurry up and go see the King of the Winds. And so, speaking of chapter titles, I called this one Things Go Wrong, and of course it's Leo's fault, because that's a direct quote from the chapter, and I think it sums it up well. But I think you could also call it Leo mostly figures out what's going on, or, like, Leo connects the dots. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, those are good.
So, I forgive the going wrong bit if Leo's gonna be a detective and solve things. Yeah, so anything else?
I'm very interested in this idea of Jason as a bridge and the exchange. I have a few predictions. I don't really have a ton on the chapter titles, but I do have overall predictions.
Excellent. Okay, so do you want to do those first and then we'll do the chapter titles?
So I'm thinking there's like a version of Camp Half-Blood, but for like the children of the Roman versions of the gods, maybe. And like that was kind of like a loophole in Percy's deal. The gods were like, fine, we'll like acknowledge all the children of our Greek versions, but we're not going to acknowledge all the children of our Roman versions. And then maybe Percy started looking for the camp because he found out, and he was like, I'm not gonna let you guys get away with this or something. Like, so I think that's where Percy is. I think he's maybe trying to find this hypothetical camp that I think exists. And I really hope it does, or else I'm gonna look really stupid at the end of this book. Like, what was she talking?
Or you're gonna look really smart if you're right.
I hope so. So that's what I've got.
What do you think a Roman camp would look like? Any ideas? Or
I have no idea. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know enough about like the differences to be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, really the only differences that they've given us are that like the Roman gods are more serious and more like into war and fighting.
So maybe there's more combat classes. Who knows?
Yeah. There's really only one goddess that I think has like a very big difference in Greek and Roman, but we'll get to that. Athena is very different between the two of them.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Does that mean Annabeth's gonna get like a sister or brother?
I mean, Annabeth does have
but like
brothers,
a named
on the
one.
Greek side,
you know, like we don't know any.
Malcolm. We know Malcolm.
Who's Malcolm?
Her brother, who's been named like twice and who consistently was interrupting Perciveth moments in the first book series.
I don't know.
He was the one that like when they were hugging in the.
I'm sorry
to
this
cabin.
man. I do not know who this is.
That's fine.
Do not remember. See, it wasn't that important.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm in like the weird that Jason is like an exchange for Percy, perhaps?
He's an exchange student.
Exactly. I'm very interested.
Interesting. All right. I guess chapter title time?
Yeah, these will be all off the cuff because I've...
Great.
Yeah.
This is not on me this time. I did send them to you in advance.
You did? But I was like so excited about my actual predictions. I was like, ah.
No, right. That's the important one.
Yeah.
No, because I've been waiting for you to make some sort of prediction about like where Percy is, where Jason
Yeah.
came from. So like
I think
this is very
we're
exciting to
getting
me.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so chapter 37 I have called Coach Hedge Eats Skygrass, and this is a Jason chapter.
I really hope this means he gets high. Like, I hope there's something about the skygrass that has, like, a hallucinogenic effect or something, because I think that would be hilarious. It's Colorado.
It's so true, it is Colorado.
Yeah.
So then chapter 38, also Jason, and I have called it Anyway the Wind Blows, because I cannot not use Hades Town. Anyway the wind blows.
I love Hades Town. I mean, this is hard because they're at, like, the wind god's place.
Sure
I
are.
want someone to get blown off the thing, the, like, rock. I think that'd be kind of funny. Not necessarily one of our guys,
Okay.
but like a minion or something. Like a.
Like, are you hoping for the death of these children?
No,
I see,
no,
okay.
no. But like, I think that'd be like a funny, like, you know how like evil guys always have their like little minions running around for them, like a henchman. Like, I think that would be funny if like one of those guys got
blow
like,
a henchman off the.
Yeah, I think it'd
great.
be funny.
All right, 39, a Piper chapter. Piper has her dream date.
I think she gets visited by the creepy. What's his name? And
Zethes? That was his name?
No.
The Boread guy?
Is that his name? I thought his name started with an E. Like, I always call him in my head Encephalitis, but that's not his name.
Oh, the giant who has her dad is Enceladus.
Yeah. Yes. But I call him Encephalitis.
Oh, okay. I was thinking the Boread who was flirting with her, but are you thinking the giant?
No. I'm thinking he comes back and like threatens her again, because as much as I would like to think this is like a romantic thing or something, she has not been having very good dreams. So.
And then chapter 40, it's another Piper chapter. Extreme Makeover Aphrodite Edition.
Now this is hard because she already kind of got an extreme makeover earlier. So.
Extreme Makeover Part 2, Electric Boogaloo?
Yes. Exactly. I want to see some more, like, powers from Piper. Oh my god, I almost forgot her name for a second. I almost said Thalia. I was like, what the hell? It's not who I'm talking about.
I'd like to see more powers from Thalia, too.
Like, I want some more charm speak. I want some more, you know.
Yeah.
We saw Leo, like, do his thing. We've seen Jason do his thing. I want some more Piper saving the day.
So true.
So I hope we get more of that.
Piper and the charm speak is so interesting because it's like it's a power that is so powerful if you are not a good person.
Yeah.
Like, if you have any morals at all, you are not going to use charm speak in the way that you could, and and like, of course, Piper is a good person, and so she's going to be real boring with it, but
yeah,
she could be a little more morally gray, and I would be on her side.
On.
All right, well, we will be back next time with many things. Some wind, some
rain, some fire. Earth, wind, and fire. They will be here, our next podcast guests. They were in Chicago for how do you say that?
Lollapalooza?
Yeah. They sang with Sabrina.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah. It's very cute.
I didn't see that. All right. Well, next time, chapters 37 through 40, we're coming down to the end of this one because I think there's like 50 something. So
that's crazy because I feel like I still don't know anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell has happened? I'm like, where?
Yeah, this one is interesting because no one knows anything that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully in the next like 15 chapters you'll know some things.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
All right, well, we will see you next time. Hi, you can find us on social media at DemigodDebutPod. You can also find the links to all of our socials in the episode description. If you enjoy consuming this podcast, please consider leaving us a rating or review wherever it is you are listening. See you next time. Bye!